Let me come to our guest here in the studios, Mr. Laolu Akande. We're looking at a number of issues that are trending, and this, of course, is right there on the front burner. We're looking at our health sector. It's been a while since we've seen strikes, but this has now come to us, and it's taking its toll on patients, especially public health institutions in Nigeria. You've heard him. What are your initial thoughts on how it is that we've reached here?
Yeah, I mean, it's quite a very sad scenario that you have the Nigerian people, patients, having to take the shorter end of the stick in this kind of face-off between, in this case, the Nurses Association and the federal government. You know, that is quite heart-rending. But what I can tell you from my own experience in government is that the channels of communication in government is actually a joke. And I have not seen any serious effort to try and fix it. Because what I will argue, you know, and I wish I could be corrected if this is not true, is that the people that have responsibility, the political responsibility, oftentimes don't get to even know about some of these things until it is very late. Now, and I'm not trying to give them any excuses, because the moment you get to know about it, you ought to stop it. Because if any of the ministers, be it labor or health, if they were to say to these guys and say that, look, I give you my word, you know, please go back. We are going to sort this thing out and try to find some kind of circle that, look, these are all the things that you want. You know, we will do this right away. We will do this in a week. I'm sure that they will be able to go back. So I'm saying that on the one hand, there is a bureaucratic problem in the Nigerian public service, in the civil service, that delays the communication. That is, and I'm speaking from experience entirely. But then, clearly, we know now, based on what the chairman has said, Mr. Riwan, we know that the Minister of Labor is aware. They've held meetings with the Minister of Labor. They've held meetings with the Minister of Health. You know, so they are aware. Now, we don't know at what point they were aware, but they are aware. And the moment you are aware, what you ought to do is to try to stop it, because the damage is quite significant, and we will not be able to even measure. You know, I mean, the report did a very good job. We had one of the patients, you know, and that was heart-rending, you know. I mean, for nothing of our own fault. This is somebody that is sick. All of us get sick, and you know how it is. If you have a little bit of pain, you know how completely, you know, I mean, how that can set you off. So that is what both the government and the nurses ought to take into consideration and find some kind of meeting point. And that's what I'm going to say. I mean, look, the Minister for Education is now actually boasting that, hey, no more ASU strike. Maybe they should do the same thing that they did to ASU, to the nurses, and sort out these problems. There's no reason why we should be having this strike, because all you need to do is to develop a relationship that is based on confidence. And I'm talking now about the ministers, let the associations have confidence in you. If they have confidence in you, then they can listen to your word. Part of the problem is that that confidence has broken down, for the most part, between government and these unions.
And you know, it's the second time we're looking at the strike, because it was just last week we spoke to, was it last week we spoke to police officers, retired police officers who, you know, went on strike over their pension and their gratuity and all those kinds of payments. And it doesn't appear that there has been some, will I say, action that has been done, some urgent action taken with immediate alacrity, as we like to say in this times. And then now we're seeing that of nurses. But I do not want to lump the two, because that's part of what has, you know, brought up criticism against how the president responded to the Super Falcons, because there was that, you know, people were very happy that they pushed through. They really deserved what it was that they got in terms of their reward. But then you also saw that Nigerians are saying, but there are other issues that have been crying for your attention. Why is it that these ones are not also getting the needed attention? How much could they be possibly asking for?
Bakwe, I see your efforts not to try to lump it together, but there's a place where these things gets connected. Look, somebody told me when we were in the villa, and I will mention the person's name because I don't have their release. He said that the way Nigeria is structured is that if you don't know people, and if your noise is not loud enough, you will be jettisoned. People will not pay attention to you.
They'll abandon you.
They will abandon you. Now, if you manage to raise your voice or the sun shines on you, then you will get everything. You will get even excess. Now, everybody understands this dynamic, and that is why you see these unions bringing their biggest guns, because they have also learned that lesson in the cultural practices that we have become as a people. Yes, the Falcons deserve it, but then people are saying that, what about the policemen? I saw a video of some of the soldiers decapitated because of the war. They got nothing comparable because we have a broken system. And that's my point. We have a broken system. And if we don't do the dramatic things that is required, drastic steps, that system is going to be failing. Because, to be honest with you, how many things do you think is on the table of the president? Huge, humongous, even the ministers too. We need to fix the system so that some of these things can be sorted as a matter of course. The way it is now, the system is broken down. You have to be able to scream at the top of your voice to get the attention that you deserve, to get the entitlement that is yours.
And, you know, that Super Falcons, I don't want to quickly glossify it because people had given up on them. Even at the final, even at that game, people had, you know, given up. I have friends who said, look, I'm going to go and sleep. I'm too young to die of hypertension. And, you know, they really fought their way through to be able to bring home that cup. But before they got to the finals, and we were hearing things of allowances not being paid, you know, sometimes before they even set out is a problem. To be mobilized is a problem. And then when they now come back with the cup, thank God at least something came their way. And even though we're still praying that whatever it is the president has promised is delivered as quickly as possible. Which all
I was gonna because I don't want us to lose that.
Yeah.
You see, the issue, and this, let's talk about it. Because it does feel like in many ways when the president made that call and offered those things to the Falcons, 150 million was offered to the Falcons. That was when we started hearing the voices. Let's be honest here. We stay hearing many groups talking about how, especially policemen, it started with the policemen, when they say, look, we're working for you. 35 years after, you give me 2 million. Someone wins a game and you give them 150 million. Now, while that doesn't take away from the importance of encouraging our girls, it does speak to the priorities of government, doesn't it, Laolu?
Yeah, that's my point, Kayla, that is the system, that is what we have become. So the government is also, to a very significant extent, dependent on the bureaucratic structure that we have. And they should take responsibility, no doubt about that. Whoever is president, whoever is minister, whoever is head of service, they have to take the responsibility. But I'm just taking it deeper, just so people will understand the crisis that we have. We have a civil service system that is broken down. It's broken down. You cannot place anything on it. Look, it got to a point in this country several years ago that when political appointees are made, when the minister, you have to bring your own aides. You have to bring like 6, 7, 8 special assistants. They weren't doing that before. I mean, at the times when people like Patu Tomi was a special advisor to Shagai, you could count the number of special advisors that the president had. But all of that has changed now. If you want to get the job done, you need to substantiate and supplement because they can see the brokenness of the system. We got to fix that system. I mean, it's not to talk down the civil servants. No, there are great people among them, but the system is broken down. That is why the nurses will have sent communication and nobody has responded.
No one came for the meeting
yesterday. And
then the Minister of Health didn't come for that first meeting.
Yeah, but then I think you also said that the Minister of Health then had another meeting with them on Wednesday. But you could see that there are all kinds of structural gaps that if we don't address them holistically, you're going to have to be dealing with this. The other thing that the political appointees can do is to inspire confidence. When you get there, inspire confidence with these people, even before there is a crisis. Tell them that, look, I'm here for you. If people have that sense of confidence, that's what's happening between us and the minister today. Clearly, if they have that confidence that, okay, this is our guy, they'll give you the benefit of the doubt. That is what parties should do. That is what Dingin Yadi should do. Inspire confidence in these people.
It's surprising, I mean, because the coordinating Minister of Health, if there's anything he's tried to do, is inspire confidence in Nigeria that, you know, their health system is going to come back on track. We saw the commissioning of cancer centers last week, you know, and there was a whole, well, I say fanfare around it because it was done across 3 different states in one day. So it is nurses that will work in these places, and some of them will be specialists. So some of the things that they're asking for shouldn't be too far-fetched. If we're going to be building all of this wonderful infrastructure, we should also care about the people who work there, shouldn't we?
Good point, Marpe. So which is the other thing that is important, and this is where we have to place the blame squarely on political leadership. We have to understand that it is important for us to deal with our people in a fair and decent manner. All of us in positions of leadership, from the president to the ministers to the head of service to the directors. We must talk to ourselves that look, the people, those are the real thing that we need to deal with more than any other thing. Other things are important. Those projects are important. Those equipments are important. Those roads are important. Those bridges are important. But they must come after how we treat people as human beings. If these guys have confidence in the system, they will wait. But they don't have confidence in the system. And the ministers can make that happen.
And well, they're not the only ones that don't have confidence in the system. Even lawmakers don't have confidence in the system. They carried out an audit. I mean, I think it was the audit on the NNPCL, and yes, the Senate Committee on Public Accounts, which is usually headed by an opposition member. We even saw members of the proposition, not the opposition now, you know, finding it very difficult to trust the words of the NNPCL GMD when he showed up at their hearing. They had been saying, look, this man, we're going to arrest you if you don't show up. And then eventually he shows up and he says, please give me 4 weeks. I'm just newly appointed. I'm just trying to come to terms. And they say, what do you mean? You've been there for a while. I mean, are you saying that all the people who have been appearing before us, none of them have communicated to you in a very coherent manner what it is we're asking for? Well, they were still kind. They gave him 3 weeks. But at the heart of it, some people are saying, look, there is a question of accountability. And it would seem that they're not very, very confident in some of the things that have not been reported. We had, an expert in that industry who was here yesterday, who said that, look, some of these things look like they're being politicized. Because how do you come up with 210 trillion naira where you're looking at assets and liabilities? How do you lump them together? Shouldn't you be looking at a difference, etc., etc.? Nonetheless, this has been raised by both members of the opposition and the ruling party in this particular committee. What are your thoughts when you saw the appearance of the NNPCL chairman?
Yeah, okay, so as you know, the issue of NNPC is quite very complicated stuff, you know, and then even our National Assembly, there's quite a bit of distrust too. You know, people don't trust the National Assembly, which is a shame. I mean, that is the people's parliament. If you don't trust them, there is the perception of a shakedown many of the times when these panels, you know, try to, and I have also had interactions that clear to me that some of them, not all, some of them are not really driven by public interest. Look at what is happening now in this matter. Experts have already explained to us that, look, this thing, there's a problem with this claim that this is how much of money that has been lost or stuff, that there are technical issues. That
they are seeking to be accounted for.
Yeah, you know, so, so people are not really inspired by the national, big time resources, those issues. Then there are more issues in the PC that they should be dealing with.
Such as?
You know, the very idea that the system is so opaque, you know, that the way we run our oil and gas NNPC is just that.
Yeah, so kind of
whatever it is we want to show you, we show you this, we hold on to that. You know, look, some of the past audited reports of NNPC, the auditors issued disclaimers to an audit report that they signed.
Absolutely.
I didn't hear anybody in the National Assembly screaming about that. What's the point of you being an auditor? You got the job, got paid for it, and you publish report and you say that, oh, on these matters, you know, it's a disclaimer, we don't take responsibility. That is an ethical crisis. National Assembly members said not a word to that. So there are deeper problems. The last thing I want to say is that Mr. Ojudari is political, and because the NNPC is a huge political institution, is messing up big time in the way it's managing the political aspects of this job. It's messing up big time. Gets involved in this Kigali retreat. It turns out that even the president is disappointed. I have it on authority. It turns out that he has links with people and he has exposed himself completely. He fires his communication chief, and it's getting into trouble that he doesn't need. And it's going to affect his ability to deliver if he doesn't really sit up. But all told, no confidence in NNPC, no confidence in NAS in this matter. And both institutions need to fix their places to inspire confidence from Nigerian people.
Is there ever going to be a time
when
NNPC will be doing a proper monthly? Remember, I think many years ago, someone tried it, where someone, former Minister of Finance, tried to get the NNPC to come up and do a monthly breakdown of inflows and outflows and what we make and what it was used for. That didn't work. It didn't work. I think several of those meetings were, they didn't even show up for some of those meetings. Let's be realistic with this very murky agency, because it does feel like it's not just opaque, it's very murky. Is there ever going to be a time that we're going to get the clarity that we need from NNPC, realistically?
Well, if we insist, we will get it. If we insist, if the people whose job it is to raise these issues, if they do it, we will get it. And if they don't do it, then we have a voice. We have a voice. We have to make it an agenda. Because, look, there are issues in NNPC. No doubt about that. Everybody knows it. And we have called on the president that, look, the same way you treated the CBN, look at what he did with the CBN. Oh, yeah. He appointed a special investigator, and we saw all of the stuff that is happening there. Put a very cool guy, Dr. Cardoso there, trying to fix things. Excellent job. You need to do the same thing with NNPC. Yes, Ojudari is also very competent, but we need to find out what happened in NNPC. We need to go into the details. We need to go all the way back that we need to go so that Nigerians can know exactly what happened. That way, when you put it out, you increase the chances of it not being repeated. But when you cover it up, then everybody is just waiting to take their turn.
And our president is the minister. Yeah. He's the Minister of Petroleum.
Which is not a good idea.
Well, speaking with Mr. Eledare yesterday, he was saying that the manner in which even the lawmakers are approaching this is quite unfair. And he believes that, technocrats, because in this instance, yes, I do know that there are political angles to it. It does appear that it is far much more political than the CBN. Would you say that?
Oh, certainly. I believe so. Because, look, so NNPC is the place where, that's our, what do they call it? That's where we lay the golden eggs are laid.
Yeah, it's our golden egg.
Exactly. So it will be much more, it's more sensitive, it's more significant even than CBN. But you still have to consider that the way the president managed the CBN thing, I think, we should give him the credit for doing that, and expose quite a lot of the shenanigans in the place. And it's important for him so that people don't think that, oh, okay, maybe it's because you have some reasons, to go after Emefiele. Maybe that was why you allowed that. We need to do the same thing in NNPC, and NNPC is much more important to clear up. Look, if we don't deal with NNPC, we are not dealing with corruption. Look at what Olukoyede said a few weeks ago, right there at the National Assembly. Olukoyede said that he's been trying to get the National Assembly to pass this bill that, I've forgotten the name, but that will show that, look, if you have assets, if you have property...
Unexplained wealth?
Unexplained wealth bill. Thank you very much. He says that for a year, he's been screaming. These same folks, they are not supporting that. Now they are trying to shake down Ojulari. I mean, this is the problem. The guy who is in charge of economic crimes is saying that, look, help me pass this unexplained wealth bill. More means the world. And now you come on a very flimsy technical audit problem, and you are causing you are raising hell. And experts are saying that this is a very simple matter to sort out. Unexplained wealth bill, Olukoyede is begging is begging, please pass the bill. If you guys know what you are doing, pass the bill.
Let's be very frank, Mr. Laolu. Do you ever see that bill getting passed? Let's be honest.
But it should be passed.
I'm not saying it shouldn't be. I'm saying, do you ever see a place where that bill will be passed?
Never say never, Mark.
It should be passed.
Never. Because we are the ones that we say that this is not who we are. If we find out that this is how low we have come, then we have to do the work of reconciliation, restoration. We need to build this country back. Kayla, we have no other country.
That's true. You know, somebody said, he said he would, I forgot how he said he would pay to see someone who's a billionaire in this country write a proper autobiography of how they made their money, where it came from, and actually be able to... Mr. Otedola is actually being talked about on social media right now, since he wrote that book about how to make it. And you're seeing a lot of young Nigerians asking, how?
Yeah, there was this child. Don't listen to him.
Don't listen. And it's not just him. They're pointing out a lot of other people who, you know, are trying to inspire young people to do well and whatnot. But you see a lot of young Nigerians thinking, listen, you had 3,000 steps ahead before I got into this game. Yeah. How are you supposed to inspire me to start from scratch?
Well, there are still lessons that you can still learn from, you know, Tedola's life. You know, yes, it's true that he comes from a privileged family and all of that. That is true. But you can still see quite a bit of lessons, you know, from him. And the point is that there are several ways that leads to the market, like Yoruba people will say, the onokon waja. You know, so somebody can make money because they have privilege, but there are also people who can make money. There are people in this country who have made money just from the scratch. There are people in this country.
It is true. It is true. And I do know those people, and I work for one of them. But let's not you know, deviate from what it is that we're looking at. You know, while it is that we want to stay on maybe matters that can be a bit chirpy, something also happened during the week which brought back security. Security has been somewhat, some people say, well, sometimes when you don't hear about security matters, is it that way the media is underreporting? Is it that we're not hearing? Or is it that things are really, you know, on the down low, like the security agencies are really on top of their game? And I want to believe that security agencies are on top of their game. But then you now hear out of the, you know, blues that something very unfortunate has happened, taking the lives of people with it. And we had such a situation in Zamfara State where 38 people were kidnapped. And in the community, after ransom was paid to these people, you know, a significant number of them, at least 15 of them, were murdered by those who had taken them hostage. And it just is mind-boggling as to what we really need to do. I know that we've heard the NSA say over time and time again, don't pay ransom, they can still kill you and they will still take your money. And which has also been criticized. You know, you said don't pay ransom. These are loved ones in the hands of people. They're asking for money. People will say, look, if it's money, take money, give me back my people. And this, you know, just came and shattered the relative peace and quiet we've enjoyed, it would seem, on the front of security. What do we make of this?
Well, you know, we have to go back to some of the things that are clearly wrong. I agree that the military has put in a lot of effort. You know, I mean, somebody like the Chief of Defense Staff, you know, you can tell that the man is devoted, is a patriot, and is thinking. No doubt about it. You know, General Chris.
Yes.
You know, but it is still insufficient. We are still missing out something. And part of it, in my view, is that we don't have enough troops on the ground. You know, and I have spoken with retired generals about this matter, clearly. Now, although there are other issues, but one thing that we've not been able to do is to put enough troops. What I'm told is that, so the military will go to a place, clear the place, scare away the terrorists, neutralize some of them, and then they move elsewhere. And these guys too, because they are so very organized, they know where you have left. So they come back. So there's trouble here, you solve the problem here, you move to the other place, they come back. That just shows clearly that you don't have enough. There are too many ungoverned places. And for the life of me, we know the places where there are the trouble spots. We know where they... So the military needs to bring more troops at the very minimum. We need, and I don't know what they have to tweak in their system, how they have to be radical about it, or dramatic about it, or drastic about it. Something drastic has to be done in that area to put more troops on the ground to at least deter all of this attack, or when it is happening, you can have a quick response. We have not gotten to the optimal level for that.
So there is the place for quick response, which it will seem that General Musa and the other security agencies are still working on, because it doesn't look like, every time I think about it, I think about when an attack happens, who do you call? Who is the nearest port of call? What is the response system? Yeah. Those things are still a little uncertain in our country. And if I, who live in Abuja, is wondering how 112, maybe in Abuja, I don't know, have you ever thought about it as emergency numbers? If I in Abuja am uncertain, might be experimenting in Abuja, what will happen in places like Zamfara, and in places like UB, in places like Katsina? These are huge questions, Plateau State, etc. But I do know very firmly that, you know, the military keeps saying this is not really, while we have our part, the political actors also have a great part to play in the middle of all of this, and that we cannot continue to, you know, grow poverty, we cannot continue to grow unemployment, and we think that we're not sitting on a keg of gunpowder. And to political matters, we cannot ignore what happened sometime during the week when northern groups held a meeting. Some of them, eventually they were able to reach a compromise of endorsing the president, but it wasn't without arguments here and there. I don't know if you saw that particular story when the ministers and some other political leaders had this meeting with different... In Kaduna. And, you know, there were different sides to the coin, more or less. Some people felt, oh, look, the president has been fair to the north. Or some people say, oh, no, he hasn't been. And this debate goes back and forth. And for a number of other watchers, it's just like this conversation about, oh, before we even go there, there was also another group that came out to say, look, if the president doesn't keep the side, the ANPP people saying, look, the ANPP faction has been marginalized in this APC. And we're wondering, oh, hold on. We thought the party had since blended and merged since all of this time. What is this factionalization? But I think it also goes to the broader narrative of this North versus South, which we constantly and continually see. I don't know whether I had asked one of our commentators yesterday if it bothers him, and he says it really bothers him. I wonder if it bothers you as well.
Clearly, you know, and this is why the idea of rotational presidency was such a, you know, good idea, good thing. You know, to say that, look, where we are in this country, we have to create some level of equitable interaction at the political level for the highest office in the land. Let's rotate the state. North and South. North and South. It's not the turn of the North. But yes, the northern section of the country, if they do have issues, they should bring it up, and there should be a very open and transparent conversation around whatever their concerns are. Just like it should be the same thing for the South. This is the whole idea. Everybody has to be able to articulate their interest. What I don't support is to use any of this to truncate the agreement or the consensus. It's a consensus. Yeah, it's not a question, but it's a consensus already established that it's going to be 8 years. We had 8 years of a northerner, President Muhammadu Buhari, God bless his soul. We must have 8 years of a southern president. So don't let anybody try to use whatever they think, you know, like Kwakwanso went to say that, oh yeah, the North is not being protected. Hey, Kwakwanso got it wrong. And clearly, what Kwakwanso said is completely selfish. Kwakwanso is just playing up his own game, his own personal game. And you expect somebody of Kwakwanso's level to exercise a bit more state-manly behavior. You know, there is no way you can sustain an argument to say that therefore bring it back to the... No, we got to wait for the 8 years. let us discuss the issues, whatever they are, openly.
And it would seem that, you know, Governor Peter Obi, Mr. Peter Obi read the room right when he started to propose that should he, you know, run, I think he certainly will run, but that he's only proposing a one-term presidency.
Yeah, and Amici said the same thing.
Yes,
you know,
because it does appear that,
yes. You know, and then, you know, Makwe, people have also suggested that, look, why is nobody talking about Goodluck Jonathan? Goodluck Jonathan, if he's in the race, just for the sake of it, of argument, I'm not saying I'm not a politician, but Goodluck Jonathan is somebody that...
will be statute bad.
Will be statute bad to just do... So there are options to this thing. So what I don't want to hear, and what I will go against very strongly, is any attempt to return power to the North until the South has done its 8 years. No, we shouldn't allow that.
Let me complete my statement so it's not taken out of context. It will be statute bad after another 4-year term, should he decide to run.
Yeah,
you know, so if there's
so
if there's a case of trust deficit, you know, for all these other people who are saying, I will only do 4 years if you elect me, I will only do... At least we know that President Jonathan has done 4 years already, and I can only do 4 years by law.
By law.
You know, so I think it's very important to put it out there for those who are listening.
And you imagine that if the people who are doing this coalition business, if they can just read the Tinubu handbook, you know, which is already out there. We saw how the man did it. The way they are running the whole thing is just you know, they're not really... Nigerians can figure it out that this is just too much of personal interest. And we're not saying that personal interest is not in politics. It is in politics. But it is clear that it's the same game that people are suffering from that you guys are offering. It's just a change of faces.
The ADC, they're actually trending in the news because the former national chairman of the ADC, I mean, I was just looking at it, but I was looking at from the Vanguard at least, Mr. Chifoke Nwosu. So he said that that there were bribes given to them to scuttle, given to him,
right.
Ministerial bribes given to him to scuttle this ADC coalition, and all these games going on right now. But it's raising the conversation about the APC being not as safe as they think that they may be as we move up to 2027. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I mean, and that's the point that I'm saying. First of all,
although the president, Daniel Bola, has said the president has been unable to say who offered him what bribe, who can know that.
Exactly,
that
which is an important question to say that. Look, if Mr. Ravuwosu is bold enough to say that he was offered money and even 3 ministerial slot, you know, even if he doesn't want to be the one to say it, he should be smart enough to know how to get that information out so that we can really, you know, assess the credibility of that claim. I doubt it very much.
Okay.
I doubt it very much, you know, because that would be completely silly, you know. But hey, you know, these guys do all kind of stuff, you know. But the point that we should stress clearly is that we need an opposition. We need a strong opposition. It's part of the element of a thriving democracy. So we are thankful that now you have this coalition of ADC, you know, giving the government, a run for its money, putting them on their toes. That is a good thing. What they need to understand that if they really want to get the connection to the Nigerian people, then they must do 2 things. They must tell us what their manifesto is. What are they offering Nigerians that is different from what is happening today? And then secondly, can they find people who can connect? You know, all these old guys who have baggages, you know, it's not going to help their case. Those of us who are in the field of communication, you know that the most important factor in communication is the messenger himself or herself. If it is these same guys that are the one preaching the message, even if the message is good, it's already corrupted. And there's a credibility crisis for the message because the messengers cannot be trusted. Find trustworthy Nigerians who can tell your message and tell us your manifesto.
Well, I think it's a fine place to leave this conversation. I hope they're listening to you and that maybe they can come and ask you what exactly they should be doing. But we have to thank you so much.
He shook his head, no.
You want to be a consultant. Okay. Well, Laolu Akande is the former presidential aide and also the host of Channel Television's Inside Sources. Thank you once more.
Thank you, guys. You know, and you guys are looking really, you know, are really quite...
It's a daily dose of sunshine.
Yeah.
We do our best.
We do our best. Well, that's how we have to leave today's episode. We have been hoping to close on a note of real sunshine with another really lovely lady. But I guess you might get to see her tomorrow when Kayla eventually launches. Thank you so much for being a part of today's program. I will be away for now. Leaving you in very good hands.
Come back.
Thank you for watching. I'm Yusuf.
Indeed, I'll see you all tomorrow. I'm Kayla Bagua.
And I'm Yusuf.